Hello, everyone. This is Matt Stewart here with GreenRope. Uh, thank you for attending the new features and updates webinar. We'll hang tight here for just a couple moments for a minute or two to let the attendees continue to join, and then we will get started. Looks like we got some more people jumping in the room here. Give it just another moment. We'll also be, in just a moment, I'll be going to the slide where we'll be looking at what we'll be covering today as well. And there will be a recording done of this webinar as well. So if anyone has to jump off early, or for those who also didn't attend, we'll be sending that out too, so you can also review this on your own time as well. Okay, I think we'll get started. We may have a few more people jumping in as we get going here, but like I said, welcome to the new features and updates webinar. My name is Matt Stewart. I'm one of the sales managers at GreenRope. I'm going to be taking you through. It's going to kind of flow like a demo, so we'll be in the software looking at those new features and kind of going through how to set them up and some of those things. So I'm going to go over to the next slide here now. We will have a time for questions as well after we go through the features. So these are the features here that I'm going to be focusing on. So we're going to start off and talk a little bit about the project and task management feature of the system and some updates that have been done there. So some of these are going to be updates to current features. So we've kind of enhanced those features, a couple new ones, including at the last one we'll cover, the organizational chart is a brand new feature. So we're going to start off with projects and task management, go into the command center, and then we will also be discussing updates we've done to the opportunities feature. So we've done quite a few updates there over the last about 6 months to a year, but just some recent ones. So we'll kind of cover the ones we did before and also show you some of the new enhancements there. We'll also be talking about the booking calendar. So we've had a booking calendar for about a year or two now, but we've done some really nice updates there. We're going to also kind of show you, I'm sure a lot of you either use GoToMeeting um, or different systems like a Zoom or a Join.me. So we're going to kind of show you how you can set that up. So if someone books an appointment, it can automatically send them a link to that. So some nice things there, and that data also feeds into the CRM for you. And then, like I mentioned before, we'll be going over the new organizational chart feature as well. So I'm just going to jump back from that screen there. And go back here into the software. So we'll jump back over here. You guys should we're going to start off with the projects and task management. So you should be seeing that there now. This is a feature that resides, for those of you that haven't used it or kind of looked into it yet, it resides under the project portion of the apps menu. So inside the project area, and we have had this feature for a number of years, and really how it's going to utilize if you're using, the CRM side of GreenRope. I'm sure you do a lot of day-to-day phone calls, follow-ups, different things that you're setting up, with leads or prospects and clients you're working with, where the projects really come into play. It's a great kind of internal tasking tool to stay up on projects you're doing internally, projects you may be doing with clients. So we've added some nice new options here. So you've always had kind of this look and feel where you can go into the details of a project and kind of view the tasks and everything that's going on there. But we're going to go through a couple of the new tabs that we have across here. So one of the things you'll see is now colors associated with the project. So, this will come into play when we look at the Kanban board here, but if you go into the settings area here, you'll notice now you're actually able to pick a color. So if you click on the color picker there, you can do a hex code, or you can kind of pick from the menu over here. But what this is going to allow you to do is allow you to, any tasks and things that you're associating with that project, you can kind of get a view of them on the Kanban board and be able to filter by them. So you kind of pick any colors you want there. So you'll notice I've set up some different colors here. So when I go back to this, I have some red, blue, green for the projects. And then what we've also done along here, so I'm going to jump over to project categories. So project categories is now the ability to categorize the projects you're creating. So some of the ones I have, if we're doing an implementation project, a new client, maybe an event project. So whatever some of those things you're utilizing, you can now put a good organization around those categories. And then within those categories, the other big update that we did here was adding the capability to have billable task categories. So what this allows you to do is if you are working on or want to document hours that you're spending on tasks that actually have a billable rate to them. So if you're billing that out to a client or wanting to keep track of that, you can now create names to those tasks. And so when you do a task that's under that category, you can run data on, okay, how many billable hours did we have in the last 30 days for this particular task? Also included in that, when you go to the quote and invoice area inside of a contact now, you can actually pull those billable hours into the actual invoice you're sending out. So it's actually you can send it out right from a client record if you were saying here's what we're billing you for the last 30 days sort of thing. So this is a nice feature. You can play around this. You can add task categories and save them right there. And then also another different tab here that's been added, which is going to relate to the Kanban board we'll take a look at, is the ability to set up stages to your tasks. So these are going to be titles of how you're moving those the different tasks through those stages. So we can see we have task created, in progress, review, and then task completed. We can add a new stage here. So if we go to new task stage, we can click right there. We can drag and drop these around if we want to move them into a different direction, and then we can type right in here. So if whatever you want to type in here, you can adjust that or put whatever the stage is. You can also delete stages from here. So if you needed to remove this stage, we can click right there and do that as well. So once you save those task stages, that's then what's going to be available for you on the new Kanban board. So inside of the new Kanban board, it's going to work as a way to you to keep on top of everything that's going on through your project. So if you have different client projects going on, different things you're working on internally, you're going to have some of the color coding there with that. So with the color coding, you're also going to be able to see here that we have those different options. So you have kind of those colors I was showing you there. Also from this board, you can filter down to the type of tasks. So these are the actual titles. So closing list, some test stuff in here, Jake test, this test account. So let's say I wanted to see all tasks related to test here. So when I go here, you can see the board is filtered all the ones in that red color. I can see where they're at in this process. If I want to go back to kind of all the project tasks, I can do that there as well. And then this is a drag and drop board. So from here, you will be able to take the projects themselves and then drag them over. So if I wanted to create proposal over here into the in progress stage, I can do that there. So it's going to update that for me. So certainly if you haven't been using the tasking or want to implement some of those things internally, some of these new options are really great. And also this board is really nice. Also in the Gantt chart area, we do have an update that will be coming out soon to that. So you can be sure to keep a lookout for that. We're kind of switching some of the graph things around there as well. So that's some of the stuff there in the project area. I now want to jump over and go to the command center area. So we'll jump over there, and I see some people are bringing up some questions. We will go through the questions at the end. So I'm just going to go through the topics of the webinar, and we still have your questions kept there, and we will definitely make sure to go over those. So I'm going to jump from there into the command center. So some of you may have used the command center. It's kind of a cool graphical, it has like geographical locations on this area here. I don't know if you guys have looked inside of this, but I'm going to pull in back over. So it's under your home screen under command center. So it's going to bring up this here. So there's a couple new options. So the command center by default used to just be recent activities that have taken place. So things even within the last couple hours. So you can see some of these. We've got some website visits that are taking place, logins that are going on. But now we've added some additional search capability here. So one of the ones you can do, which is pretty cool, is so I'm in our GreenRope lead group. So I can go to group contact locations. It now brings up the ability for me to search also by date ranges. So you'll see when I bring up that criteria, it's now showing me all of the leads that have come in for our group and that have gone into our leads group, which is where we have all new incoming leads go into. You can see where they're coming from around the globe. So when I scroll over these, you can actually see the location and who the lead is. So it kind of gives us an idea. Over the last month, we've had people coming from really across the globe there. A lot of different inquiries from Australia, down in New Zealand, of course, quite a few there in the US as well. So these are just kind of some cool things if you want to look at just just kind of where people are at that are residing inside of your groups. That's nice there that you can do that. And then also, if you're utilizing conversion values in GreenRope, this also now allows you to look at things graphically on conversion values. So right inside of here, if I adjust that graph there, you're going to see this is starting to show us where and on the graph our top conversions are coming from. So in the last 30 days, where are all of our conversions coming? So you can see again, we have conversions and different things coming from around the globe here with these different graphs. You can kind of scroll over them, see the numbers there. So these are going to be a couple different filters that you have here. Now you can also do average conversions. So I would definitely encourage you, if you haven't, a lot of people, obviously the dashboard is kind of your main go-to each day where you have all your different widgets, but this is certainly a cool area to kind of look at things and be able to see it with this map view here. So that's the command center and updates that we did with those filters there. Now I'm going to go over into the opportunities. So opportunities, we've been updating quite a bit over the last year or so. We did a webinar on some of these updates specifically about opportunities. So that is available if you want to go in and kind of do all the details of that. But we did do some recent updates, and I just want to recap with you kind of what we've put into place here. So in this area, this is going to be under your contacts reports area is where I went here. So this opportunity area is where you can kind of do the overall filtering and looking at everything and all the different graphs. So you have different charts you can look at here, overview charts of how much money's on the table at each stage. But the big thing that we enhanced down here is the ability in the settings to create phases and phases available, and then specific opportunity paths. So if I click on the phases available here, this is where we can now create the different phases. So we have new lead, service request, qualified lead. So these are all stages that we can now put into. A lot of times if you have different products or services, you're going to probably maybe have different stages. So maybe you qualify them right away, they then go to proposal, or you have a longer sales cycle. So this will help you define that a little bit better. Also, you can create workflows have always been there, so you can always tag workflows. So if you're going through that process and want to kick off automation, you can do that by utilizing the activate workflow option here. That will pull up all your available workflows. But we also have the checklist items here. So the checklist items will allow you to actually kind of give that overall goal for it. So you may be doing a number of different tasks. So if you're qualifying a lead, you may be calling them multiple times, having a meeting with them. But the overall goal is to qualify them maybe over a phone conversation like we have here in New Lead. So you also can add those checklist items. So that's a nice enhancement. Again, that's been there for a little while now, but if you weren't aware of it, it's definitely something worth using. So once you create those stages there, we'll see above, we have those phases available now right here. Now under that, the new thing that we added, which is relatively recent, is the ability to do phase pass. So this allows you to define, rather than having just one sales cycle, you can now have different sales cycles by creating these different paths. So you'll see some of the stuff we have down here, additional services. We have a 3-step process before we hopefully win that deal. So we have, service request, service proposal. So these are abbreviations for the titles of those stages you see above here. But to add that, it's very easy. So when you create those phases, you just go to new path. So if you haven't created a path in your account yet, or you do want to create and kind of segment those paths, you can do that by just clicking on the new path button there. That new path button will allow you to then say, okay, this path is going to include, new lead, qualified lead, prospect, or proposal, whatever you want to add to it, you can save that there and it will create one of those paths for you. So that's going to allow you to see and view those paths and update them. You can edit them if you need to there as well. And then the other thing that we did that has just been done in the last month or so here is the ability to create a product catalog. So under products here, which is one of the charts that you'll see through these available charts up above, you now have the ability. So this also gives you reporting on different products. So, how many of the opportunities by product, what kind of deals, what's the money by, different product here. So support services, templates, GreenRope account. So when we scroll down though to the bottom, this is now where we can create the product catalog. So this product catalog is pretty cool. It provides you a lot of good flexibility. So if you come here and edit this, you'll be able to set up, again, down at the bottom is where you can create the new product or start adding your products. Once you save those, so you'll have a title to it. So you can see some of the ones we have. So like up here, we have advanced certification. So now we have a couple things. We can do a default value for those. We can also do a description over here on the right. But what's really key to this that relates to the pass we were just talking about is you can now add this product to be available. So when you're creating an opportunity, you may not, when you're doing a certain sort of path or sales cycle, you may not be worried about those products, or they may not be a part of it. So now you can have your available products by default with this product catalog and assign them to those phases. So you can see these phases that were here were the phases that we were looking at before. So we had the VAR, additional services. So for this, we've chosen for advanced certification as a part of 3 of our phases. Some of the other ones down here, GreenRope account is just part of one of our potential paths. So this will allow you to play around with that. So definitely can kind of give you a little bit more organization around some of those products, and also allow you with the default values. Of course, when you select those products, when you're creating an opportunity, it's going to add up the total for you, so you can see kind of the total amount there. So that's going to be a nice thing. So with those products, definitely that's going to be under this tab right here. Again, all of this resides in the reports area under opportunities. In the summary area here is where you'll create those phase pass and do and then set up the pass. And then also over here on the products was what we were just looking at there. So some nice things there. Definitely take a look at that. And so the other area with the opportunities I wanted to show, which is just recent as in the last couple weeks here, is under contacts view. So this is back into the CRM area. So that was kind of the overall reporting and some of the setup to the opportunities. But you may have noticed in the CRM area, you now have your opportunity Kanban board. So this is actually where you're working on those opportunities. So a lot of times it's a day-to-day or kind of weekly management thing. So as a rep, if you're in here managing things, also you can, as a manager, if you're going into your different reps, you can kind of hone in, okay, who's doing what here? How many opportunities does this individual have on the table? And what we've now done is add a graph here, which gives you the overall value of these opportunities. So anything that's active here on this board, so we can see it's about 34,500 of active opportunities that are here. We also have the different cycles. So those are those phases we were just looking at. And then now we've also added numerical values to these. So inside of here, you can also go in and see what we have on the deal, a qualified lead, proposals. So we just have some test opportunities that are through here. So you can look at some of these, but also when you adjust this by the manager, this will adjust the number of opportunities. So we can see what's on the table for Ryan here. We can go through some of those opportunities. Of course, you can pull into details of those as well. And then the other thing we've done in this graph is you have a couple more filters here. So you can do creation dates, you can do close dates, and then also you can filter down to those different opportunity paths. So if we want to look at this by a certain opportunity, you can do that, or a certain cycle phase that you're doing there, you can. And then also this is a drag and drop board, so you can move. So it's kind of cool when you pick something, it will adjust to the available phases for that path, and then you can move it over accordingly, and it will kind of jump back to the graph. So definitely something, those 2 areas with the opportunities, there's been a lot of enhancements there, so definitely worth checking them out. And of course, we can go over any questions at the end on these, and then also our support team and is available if you're trying to start to implement this in your account and have any questions there as well. So the next one, we're going to go into some details now on the booking calendar. So the booking calendar has been something we released probably about a year or 2 ago. So it's been in the account, but there's kind of some cool enhancements we did to it. And I really want to focus. We've been utilizing this quite a bit lately to book in like new lead demos. So interest that comes into GreenRope, we kind of go through the booking calendar so they can book in convenient times for them. Our training team also uses this as well. So the way you set this up, so it utilizes, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with the group structure of GreenRope and kind of how you utilize that. So inside of here in the GreenRope leads area, we have a lot of our lead management groups. So I'm going to focus in on my group here, which is Matt's leads. So inside of this lead group here, what I can do is I can go in. I'm first going to start off in the settings calendar here. So when I go into the calendar settings, We're going to take a look at a couple different things here. So this is kind of going to be the start of how you would set this up, and then we'll actually go into the full booking calendar, and then I'm going to show you the live calendar that's kind of created through this process. So one of the things, and I'm sure a lot of you, if you're using systems or you have clients booking, wanting to book through the calendar, you want to implement this into your business. I'm sure, when someone's booking something, there's probably a location that's taking place. So sometimes it could be an in-person, so they're actually coming to your office. So we have a bunch of locations here. Some of these are just sample things or areas where we've had different events and stuff. But one of the ones we're currently utilizing is we've set up the location to be a GreenRope demo room. So this does not have to be a physical location. What you can do here when you click, so when you scroll over this location, you can create a new location here, but I'm going to show you one we already have created. So when we go to the edit location button here, we can create the name to that location. So you can see we have the GreenRope demo room is the name. And now below, this is going to be key because this can work with different systems for you. So we're utilizing GoToMeeting right now. So inside of here, we have the details of the meeting room. And what you can find in the GoToMeeting, Zoom, Join.me, the real popular ones that many of you may be using, you can create a static room in that software. So essentially it's a link to a room that doesn't change. So it's not generating a new room number each time. So what we have a room where I conduct a lot of the demos and our sales team does the demos, where it's a set room. So when someone confirms and picks the meeting, it's going to send them this location. So what you can do there, you should be able to find a phone number for that room. Or again, this could be any phone number if they're supposed to call you directly on your line. You could provide a phone number there. You can also request them to put a phone number and then just say you're going to be calling them into the details. So if you're not utilizing a room like this, you certainly don't have to have this set up to use the booking calendar, but it is a nice feature. So what we've done is we've created the phone number. The website is the link to the meeting room here. And then we also, under the notes section here, this could be any notes you'd like. We've put in the access code in this notes section. So this would be the code, like if they use the phone, they would use this number to actually access and join the meeting. So first off, we've set that as our GreenRope demo room location. But now once you create a location, you have to link that to an event type. So when we go into the event type area here, we now can go down. You can create new event types here, but I'll go down to the one we've already created. So some of these, again, are kind of samples, course, training. But when we go down, what I've done is I've created down here, the location is a GreenRope demo. The event type is a GreenRope demo. So with that event type, we're going to be hosting that at the location I was just showing you, which is that GreenRope demo room. So by putting this in the GreenRope demo room, it becomes an event type for us to use when we're creating a booking meeting. And also the location is going to be conducted in that meeting room where we put those details in. So that's going to allow you to set that up so you can create your different event types and then add those location details to that event type. So of course, if you're hosting another event, the event tool is great outside the booking calendar. If you're hosting a in-person event or something like that, you're of course going to have event types with other locations or a physical location. But now what we can do is we'll go over one more tab to the description area. And what the description has here, this is where we can also see and get the public link to the booking calendar. So it's like a vanity URL here where it has the booking. So you can create one of these per group. So we're going to be looking at mine, which is my booking/Matt here. And there's also a cool way you can actually iframe it into your existing website. So I'll show you how we've done that, kind of how that displays in our GreenRope site. But there's a couple new settings here. So we're going to look, and I'll show you this in a little bit more detail, but a key setting we updated is the ability to list your public calendar view in a list format rather than a week or a month. So before you could set up and it defaulted actually to the month view, the user could pick how they could change it, but now you can set a default. So that will just hold on to that for a second because it will make sense here when I bring up the link. So that is a list view that you can create now. And then also what you can do down here, which is key, is you have a default description. So you'll notice that this description, it also has some of the same data we have in the location. So you certainly don't have to replicate that data. I've just chosen to kind of also say, the meeting will be held inside a GoToMeeting room. And here's also that information. I also reference that this is in the location details of the event as well. So you can set that up and kind of add in those details how you would like there. If you just want to say, thank you for booking in the room. I will be calling you at, thank you for supplying your phone number. I'll be calling you at the time you requested, that sort of thing. So that can be kind of a default description for you. So once you have these settings, there's also some standard settings that have been there. Some of these are like, thank you URL, and some of those that have been in the calendar settings. So if you have questions on some of these other ones, support can definitely walk you through kind of what each one means. But let's go, so focusing on kind of where we went from event locations into setting up an event type, and then also adding the description here, I'm now going to go to the actual booking calendar itself. So when we have this booking calendar here, we can now go in, and this is where you're working on this calendar from the back end. So this is where you're setting up your available time slots. So you'll see here coming up, I was just starting to add in some of the time slots and availability for October, since we're coming to the end of September here. So you can see I've been creating these slots. So let's say I wanted to create a slot here for Thursday the 4th. So when we bring up this, you're going to see some of the things that we had been looking at and creating in the settings there. So first off, your event types are those locations that you were setting up there in the event type settings area. Also, you'll see the GreenRope demo was one of those, and you'll notice the location is GreenRope demo room. So that's the details and criteria of the actual GoToMeeting online room that we'd put in there. But again, you can use any online room you'd like. So if I select that as being the meeting type, I can then also, we've enhanced the options here on, so it used to actually just give you the ability to set these for a couple days out. Now you can actually build a calendar out for quite a long period of time, even up to 8 weeks out for now. So if you knew your availability on certain days is you're always available between 9 and 12, or you want to set up certain time slots, you now can do that for the week, or you can also do it for like business days during the week. So you have some more times there. So this should also help you with not having to go into the booking calendar and kind of set the times up as much as you had to before if you were utilizing it. So you can set that time there. Once you set these times up, it's going to save and be an available time as you see on the calendar. So we can see all the available times that are here for us. So now when we go over to this section here, this is actually the booking calendar. So those available times, this is the actual booking calendar link that you can share. So there's a couple different ways you can do it. You can frame it and share it. So we've linked it and put it into our actual GreenRope website. So you could put this right under your brand inside of your website. You can provide a link to that from the bottom of your email. So, I've seen a lot of people with emails, if you want to book time, click here. So you can do that. So this will allow you, and it gives kind of a different view. So it used to default and so I was mentioning the list, the views when it was, now you can set the default to month, week, or list. So that pertains to this. So if I wanted to look at October on a month level, it would show like this. So you can see the whole month. It shows the times there. We can click on the times. We can book the appointment. So the person can look at it on this level. So they do have the chance to switch. But what this allows you is to control kind of the look and feel for this when the person is looking at it for the first time. You could also have it default to a week view. So the week view, you can see it's showing available times here. We've also added some things where it kind of blocks off for the business day. So the weekends are kind of blocked off if you're not, you don't have available times on the weekend. So this is also the week view, and the user can go through if they want to look at what's available for the next week here, they can do that. But now what we've done is we've added the list view here. So when you go to the list view, it's going to display the information. So here are the rest of our available times here for September. And if we go to what's available now for October, you can look at it in a list view. So this has been pretty popular view so far with clients that we've been implementing this with, and of course this is kind of how we've set it up as well. So the color coding is also in the event types. You can also click or choose what the color of these will be. So when someone goes to here now, so that you've linked them to here, they can click on the make request. So when we make the request, they'll put in that information. In the settings, when the person makes this request, you can have it and you'll see the available types. So maybe you have different things like, maybe it's a 15-minute phone conversation you're available for, or in this case, this is the 30-minute demo that we have. So you can create, and they can choose from different types of events from the booking calendar. Once they make that request, you can have it automatically confirm it for them, or you have the option to actually have a confirmation email. Either way, if you have it auto confirm, you'll get an email right away and it will get added to your calendar. Or you can confirm it and then it will add it to the calendar and notify the person that you've confirmed the meeting. So what happens when they make this request, it now feeds into your overall GreenRope calendar. So back over here in the monthly view of the calendar, you can see there's a number of different meetings and demos that have been being booked here. So I can see all of that information. So it allows, of course, with the Google, with our sharing options too, you can share the iCal sharing. So you can have these events populate on your Outlook or your Gmail calendar. You can also, view them inside of the GreenRope calendar here. And then, of course, all these events, so anyone who's booked through these events, it's also going to show up in the CRM record for them. So you can see them in the CRM record as an attended event, and it will keep that data there for you. So definitely something to look at if you currently have not been setting up or using a booking calendar and want to enhance that. And, this is a feature that is available for you right inside of GreenRope here. Or if you're currently using an outside system, it could be something you could look at to bring that information. And this time zone is pretty cool. GreenRope has it all set up so you can choose the time zone if you wanted to choose. So we kind of have time zones that are available all over the world, but it does recognize the person who's visiting your booking calendar by their location, and it will adjust those times accordingly. So again, so something to take a look at. We can definitely help you through the process if you want to start to implement the booking calendar and have questions around it. But some pretty cool enhancements there, and definitely a way you can set up and kind of streamline your appointments and those different or events that you're having. So that's on the booking calendar there. The last thing we're going to jump to, this won't be as long as the other ones, so we'll kind of wrap up here and then we can go over questions as well. But I wanted to also bring up into the organizational chart. So this is now a feature under the apps or org chart is right here. So it's under the apps menu right above where we were looking at projects. So what this is now an area where you can set up an organizational chart. So usually what we recommend inside of GreenRope, and I'm sure you've gone through with your training manager and working through the system and how you set it up using the groups, is you can actually have different groups. So we have internal groups. So the organizational chart would be something you'd kind of set up in an internal group. So in GreenRope, we have a couple different internal groups where we manage things here. So you can see on the left-hand side, we have a list of some of our internal employees, and we're able to start creating this chart. So if we want to create like additional people under the top here, we can by clicking on the plus icon there. Let's say we have different people, a couple people that are going to be under Eric here, a couple more people under Alessandra. So you can see you can start to click those options out, and then all you have to do is take this. So if we want to take Dan here and put him down there, then we also have Madison, and you can just drag the people over from the left. So you can play around with this. It would require, like, if you went into a lead group, it is group based, so you'd want to make sure you have a group set up with your internal employees as the members of those groups, because if you go into like a group where you have a couple thousand people, it won't really work the same way. So you want to have the group where you'll have your members here. So as we drag those people through, again, you can kind of put them in these positions. So kind of creates a cool chart for you, especially if it's as a reference material for people. Also, under in the side of those internal groups, we also heavily use like the wiki application, which is not a new feature. A lot of you may use this, but along with like the org chart, maybe some of the internal projects you're working on, this gives some good operational tools. So you can click in even to like the wiki over here, where we can go into the wiki topics and see that. So now you can kind of have that organizational chart, maybe certain resources and information inside of the wiki. So some nice tools there, but definitely check out that org chart. So that will be under the apps org chart there. So I'll pull back over here. So we'll kind of bring it up. So we're into the questions now. So I want to go over, some of them of you have already put in questions. So I'll start to kind of read through these. So one of the first ones here was from Lydia: can tasks be copied over to new projects? And the answer to that is yes, they can. When you create a new project, you can, at the bottom of creating that project, you can copy over the task list for that project. Let's see if there's already one from Steve here. Oh, yeah, this already no problem. I can create project templates. So similar things, Steve. Yes, you can create project templates there. You can create those different criteria we were looking at, and then when you go to create, and I'll show you that just momentarily. If we click back, I'll go back on to my screen here, and we can take a look. I'll just jump out of this for just a moment, and I'll show you here just to clarify that when you go into creating a project there and you have your projects up, and when you go to create a new project and set the criteria for it, you can copy those project lists over. So I'm just pausing the screen there for a moment, jumping back over here. So when you go to create a new project here, it will bring up this criteria, and that is under copy the task list. So you can copy over the criteria and tasks from another project right there for you. So let me pause that. Let's go back here to the questions. So let me bring those back up. So Steve, awesome. So Steve said, nice, Steve, with opportunities. Yeah, so product, Steve said products or services with a question mark. Those certainly could be, so that product catalog can definitely be, you kind of define it there. So it could be the name of a product or a service, what the default price was, or what the amount there is for that. And then also the description, because you have the description. So it certainly could be a product or a service. And then of course the phase pass are a good way to maybe define the overall cycle to that particular product or service. It'd be nice to be able to use. So Steve said it'd be nice to be able to use organizational charts for client companies. So that's a great thought, Steve. We haven't certainly you do have flexibility, so you can set up organizational charts per group. So technically, you really could do that, because if you wanted to take all of the contacts that resided within a company, you could create a group for them, and then you could create an organizational chart for that company. So technically, if you wanted to do that for a lot of client companies, you would have to create different groups for that. But technically, that is possible using the groups, because you can do an org chart per group. Let's see. We'll hang tight here to see if anyone else has any other questions. It looks like we still have some attendees and quite a few here in the room. So if anyone else has any questions on anything we've covered or gone over, please feel free to put those into the question box there. We'll hang tight here for a few more moments if any other questions do come around. And of course, as you start to, there's quite a lot of information on that. So if you do start to go into your opportunities, go into the setting up the booking calendar, some of the tasks, project stuff, certainly feel free to reach out to us, and we'd be happy to go over those. So let's see, Lydia. So in creating org charts for clients, are the images clickable for their profiles? Yes, so they are clickable. So if you do have an image for that client, it will click into the CRM record for the client, so it will just go into their details. So as long as you have an image for the client, that would be a part of the org chart for that client if you were setting that up in a group. And Ryan, yes, we will be sending out a recording. So everyone who registered will get a recording. We also have section on our website in our help center. We have all of our recorded webinars that we do every Thursday. So they're separated and organized by topics there. So if you ever want to go back over a past webinar, you can do that. But this webinar will be sent out to you, and also will be a part of those those resources there. Let's see. Any other questions from anyone at all? We'll leave it open here for just a couple more moments, and then and then we'll close it out. And like Ryan said, we will get the recording out to you there. And I think I was saying there before too, if any questions come up as you're working on this, and you want to kind of know some more details of how to set that up or how to do some of the features we covered, certainly reach out to us, and we'd be happy to help you out with those. Let's see. Okay, we'll go ahead. It doesn't look like we have any more questions popping in, so we'll go ahead and close out the webinar. Thank you everyone for attending. Really appreciate you spending the time going through some of those new features. Hopefully you're able to get in your account and utilize them. And like we said, we'll be happy to help you out with other questions that come up as you're setting that out. And we'll look forward to, we have enough other webinars coming up that will be posted. And with our new features, we also send them out during our newsletter. So take a look. We usually highlight kind of a new update or a feature we've done as well. Alita asked, is there an easy way to pull in contacts images from, say, LinkedIn? Not really. We don't have like a sync where it's going to pull in an image. So you would have to, the image is uploaded into the contact record. So you would have to, I mean, you certainly could screenshot or snippet the image from LinkedIn and then put that into the client record, but we don't have like a direct sync from LinkedIn where it would look for like the picture and pull it in currently. Alrighty. I think we'll go. Yeah, we'll go ahead and close this out. Thank you, Lydia. We'll go ahead and close this out for now. And like we said, feel free, look out for updates that come out in the newsletters. Probably have another one of these in the coming months or probably sometime in the new year. And thanks everyone for attending. And I hope you all have a great rest of the day. Thank you.